The Most High was much pleased with the petition of the heavenly child, and he gave her to understand that he would admit her to suffering and labor for his love in the course of her life, without at the time revealing to her the order and the manner in which he was to dispense them. The Princess of Heaven gave thanks for this blessing and favor of being chosen to labor and suffer for the glory of God's name. Burning with desire of securing such favor, she asked of His Majesty to be allowed to make 4 vows in his presence: of chastity, of poverty, of obedience, and of perpetual enclosure in the temple whither he had called her. To this petition the Lord answered and said to her, "My spouse, my thoughts rise above all that is created, and thou, my chosen one, dost not yet know what is to happen to thee in the course of thy life, and thou dost not yet understand why it is impossible to fulfill thy fervent desires altogether in the manner in which thou now dost imagine. The vow of chastity I permit, and I desire that thou make it. I wish that from this moment thou renounce earthly riches. It is also my will that as far as possible thou observe whatever pertains to the other vows, just as if thou hadst made them all. Thy desire shall be fulfilled through many other virgins in the coming law of grace. For in order to imitate thee and to serve me, they will make these same vows and live together in community, and thou shalt be the mother of many daughters." The most holy child then, in the presence of the Lord, made the vow of chastity, and as for the rest, without binding herself, she renounced all affection for terrestrial and created things. She moreover resolved to obey all creatures for the sake of God. In the fulfillment of these promises, she was more punctual, fervent, and faithful than any who have ever made these vows or ever will make them. Forthwith, the clear and intuitive vision of the divinity ceased, but she was not immediately restored to the earth. For, remaining in the empyrean heaven, she enjoyed another, an imaginary vision of the Lord in a lower state of ecstasy, so that in connection with it, she saw other mysteries. In this secondary and imaginary vision, some of the seraphim closest to the Lord approached her, and by his command adorned and clothed her in the following manner. First, all her senses were illumined with an effulgent light, which filled them with grace and beauty. Then they robed her in a mantle or tunic of most exquisite splendor, and girded her with a cincture of vari-colored and transparent stones, of flashing brilliancy, which adorned her beyond human comprehension. They signified the immaculate purity and the various heroic virtues of her soul. They placed on her also a necklace or collar of inestimable and entrancing beauty, which contained 3 large stones, symbolic of the 3 great virtues of faith, hope, and charity. This they hung around her neck, letting it fall to her breast, as if indicating the seat of these precious virtues. They also adorned her hands with 7 rings of rare beauty, whereby the Holy Ghost wished to proclaim that he had enriched her with his holy gifts in a most eminent degree. In addition to all this, the Most Holy Trinity crowned her head with an imperial diadem, made of inestimable material and set with most precious stones, constituting her thereby as his spouse and as the Empress of Heaven. In testimony whereof the white and refulgent vestments were emblazoned with letters or figures of the finest and the most shining gold, proclaiming, Mary, daughter of the Eternal Father, spouse of the Holy Ghost, and mother of the true light. This last name or title the heavenly mistress did not understand, but the angels understood it, who, lost in wonder and praise of the author, were assisting at this new and strange ceremony. Finally, the attention of all the angelic spirits was drawn toward the Most High, and a voice proceeded from the throne of the Blessed Trinity, which, addressing the Most Holy Mary, spoke to her. Thou shalt be our spouse, our beloved and chosen one among all creatures for all eternity. The angels shall serve thee, and all the nations and generations shall call thee blessed. The sovereign child, being thus attired in the court dress of the divinity, then celebrated a more glorious and marvelous espousal than ever could enter the mind of the highest cherubim and seraphim. For the Most High accepted her as his sole and only spouse, and conferred upon her the highest dignity which can befall a creature. He deposited within her his own divinity in the person of the Word, and with it all the treasures of grace befitting such eminence. Meanwhile, the most humble among the humble was lost in the abyss of love and wonder which these benefits and favors caused in her, and in the presence of the Lord she spoke. Most High King and incomprehensible God, who art thou, and who am I, that thy condescension should look upon me, who am dust, unworthy of such mercy? In thee, my Lord, as in a clear mirror seeing thy immutable being, I behold and understand without error my loneliness and vileness. I admire thy immensity and deprecate my nothingness. At the sight of thee I am annihilated and lost in astonishment that the infinite majesty should stoop to so lowly a worm, who can merit only oblivion and contempt of all the creatures. O Lord, my only good, how art thou magnified and exalted in this deed? What marvel dost thou cause through me in thy angelic spirits, who understand thy infinite bounty, magnificence, and mercy, in raising up from the dust her who in it is poor, and placing her among the princes. I accept thee, O my King and my Lord, as my spouse, and I offer myself as thy slave. Let not my understanding attend to any other object, nor my memory hold any other image, nor my will seek other object or pleasure than thee, my highest good, my true and only love. Let not my eyes look upon human creature, nor my faculties and senses attend upon anything beside thee and whatever thy majesty shall direct. Thou alone for thy spouse, my beloved, and she for thee only, who art the immutable and eternal good.